All right, guys, we are continuing on with our 135 full bolt-on project. We're gonna show you, obviously, the process of getting to that stage. As you know, in the earlier videos, we did the valve cover, we did the oil filter housing gasket, we did the spark plugs, we put the new pulleys on. We're gonna tackle the oil pan gasket. And in order to get the oil pan gasket off, you're gonna need to drop the subframe, and that is not gonna be an easy task. I won't say it's a hard task, but it's a tedious task, right? There's a lot of bolts in the oil pan itself, but dropping the subframe, you're gonna have to get some of the hoses out of the way, you're gonna have to get some of the brackets out of the way, you're gonna have to remove the undershield, and most importantly, you're gonna have to support the engine from the top so that the engine is, you know, the weight of the engine is not falling down, right? So we're gonna get... Really important that you have your proper engine support frame. Let me just bring this over here. Now, this is pretty heavy, but this was about 80 bucks. It's not a Harbor Freight brand, it's some Amazon brand, but it looks very, very sturdy, and we're gonna have to support it from the top. If you don't have this, don't do this job. I highly recommend you do it the right way. You don't want anything falling while you're underneath of the car. Safety first, guys. If you're doing any kind of DIY, like I said, there's various different methods, but this is just kind of our way. If you really want to dig down to it, you know, there's manuals for BMWs and whatnot. I would highly check that out. Okay, so number one thing, go grab yourself a tow hook from your trunk, okay? If you look right next to your oil filter housing gasket, this is where this tow hook screws in, okay? Okay, and that is hitting right there. And I just want to make sure that it's pretty tight. And in order to get it as tight as you can without damaging your block, okay, that's about as tight as it's gonna get. And your engine is not going, this tow hook's not going anywhere. Now what we want to do is we want to find a nice medium to this. Okay, we're not going to tighten it yet. What we want to do is stabilize now. What I'm kind of looking at here is the fact that there's a gap and there's not a lot of structural rigidity. I want to try to get it higher up here because I don't want this to collapse in any way. All right, guys. All right. So we got this thing on there. I'm really a little bit skeptical on where the support bar needs to be because there are gaps here, but I mean, I've really cranked it down and it seems like it's holding without this actually structurally compromising. So I think it's plenty strong to support the motor. I'm gonna be really careful when I get under there and start removing the subframe for any signs of the engine moving. And if that does, I'm gonna put the subframe right back up. One thing you wanna do before you get to the underside of your car is take off your engine mount top nut. All right. All right, so that's a 16mm nut in there, and we're gonna go ahead and break that loose. Okay, it's loose, and it's not on there like incredibly tight, so. And some people put tape on the back of the socket, but I'm gonna actually fish it out. Okay. If you don't have one, make sure you get one. It comes in really handy. Okay, that is off. Okay, there's all the bolts. All right, and these are steel bolts. You can definitely reuse these, but for peace of mind, I got all brand new bolts. Okay, so we have here a Blackstone oil analysis kit. And for anybody that doesn't know what a Blackstone oil analysis is, basically it gives you the analysis of your oil, used oil, to see the health of your engine, right? And how accurate is it? It is pretty reliable. It's gonna show you, like, you know, copper levels. Because BMW, prior to 2011, for a lot of the engines, you know, they stopped, they were using copper as the last layer. So if you got down to the copper layer of your rod bearings, well, guess what? You're at the end of your shelf life for the rod bearing. So we're gonna do an oil analysis for this car. I had it done at 140,000 miles, and it came back with stellar results. They said, you know, for the mileage as well as the condition of the car, they said it was fantastic. The oil analysis, we'll post the oil analysis once it comes back, but I am very curious about what the oil analysis is going to come back with. I've changed the oil with Castrol 0W40 synthetic every 5,000 or less. If I did a, you know, really hooning session, I would maybe shorten that the oil change interval, but never trust that 10,000 or 12,000 or 15,000, whatever BMW recommends now as an oil change interval. Spend the money and do it for peace of mind. I would think that, you know, oil is not a tremendous amount of money, and oil analysis, this is about 30 bucks. I'm gonna do this. Make sure to take the sample right in the middle of the oil drainage, not the first or the last of it. Just smart thing to do. That's what they recommend. And your oil drain plug should never ever be like super duper hard to get off. Okay, wow, that was a pretty clean drainage, and I'm gonna take it right now. Okay, it's good. And we're gonna let this kind of do its job, and then I'm gonna start removing some of the ancillary stuff like the power steering line, some of the cooler lines that are gonna be associated with it. because this is a hard line. You want to move that, and you're gonna have to remove the control arm here, the sway bar end links, because we're gonna have to remove the sway bar itself from up here to gain access to be able to remove your subframe down, because the subframe, this is your subframe here, okay, and this entire piece. So we're gonna have to remove all this stuff out of the way. I'm gonna take these metal tabs out of the way. Now this is really to hold the splash shield together. Look at all that crud. Woo! Oh, that's so weird. That's a weird looking bolt. I don't even think that's a 13. Oh, what a pain in the balls. But it works. I'm gonna put this guy right back in here. Yeah, we're gonna take off the sway bar. This is a 13, and there's no top bolt, so. Okay. And if you have a magnetic bowl, keep that around. It'll come in super handy. And we're gonna slinky this guy around. Okay. We're kind of working from front to back. So what we're gonna do is remove the control arms here. Okay, this looks like an 18. Yep. That out of the way. Actually, we're gonna keep it here for now because we're gonna need to take off the knuckle here, the steering bolt here. The tie rod ends here for the steering rack. We're gonna have to disconnect this from the knuckle. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now it's turning with it, so what you want to do is put your Torx into there. Okay, wow, if you look at this bolt, it's kind of cool how it's a two-part design, and this didn't really seize on. Like, it is aluminum, which is awesome, because if you ever worked on a E36 or a E30, this usually gets seized to the point where you need a ball joint tool. But that's out of the way. We're gonna go on the other side, do the same. We're gonna take the steering rack off. We want to make sure that it's away from, okay, there you go. That looks like a T12. So this is an E12, external torques 12. It was really on there. What we did was we couldn't really get a 16 millimeter on top. So we went from the top of the hood area, the engine compartment area, and we got this loose, but you can see how long this is, right? So make sure that it's completely seated, and then use, you know, if you have an impact, use an impact or a breaker bar and just kind of work it and then get it loose. It's a really long bolt. And we're gonna do the same. Now, if you don't have a swivel, then I would really highly recommend you either use a small wrench or get yourself a swivel, because it's going to make a hell of a difference. Yep, there you go. And now, this guy should come off like this, and I believe that's pretty much all the things that are being held onto the subframe. I'm gonna double check to make sure this guy's off. Making sure. Oh, we're gonna have to remove the control arms here. You're gonna make sure you unplug your headlight leveling sensor here. It is gonna be dangling, but it's okay. Okay. And this is basically being held up by your strut, so don't worry too much. The whole point is to slide that subframe off, and we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Now we're going to loosen the engine mounts. Just don't strip these. Okay, got these guys off. And I'm gonna do the same for the other side. Okay. Look at that. Subframe bolts, front. Okay. Number 2. Now what I want to make sure is that this engine bar is going to hold the weight of the motor. It's rock solid. And because we're working with underneath of the car. I'm gonna be super careful, but I'm gonna be out of the way when I lower the subframe for now. And as you can see, guys, this is the front and this is the back, okay? And this is the middle. You have to recognize that they're all different sizes. Any crazy movement? No? Awesome. That's what we want to see. Oh man, it's not even gonna fit. I'm scared. Okay. Oh shit. Daniel, I'm sorry. Can you pull that shit, yeah, out of the way? All right, guys, that was a bear of a job getting this subframe out. I won't lie to you, it is incredibly tedious to get everything off, and then to really wrestle this out of the way. You probably need a friend to help you do this stuff, and a couple of changes of shirts. And you can tell by this, this is the driver's side, and then this is the passenger side here. They're not super toast like I thought it was gonna be. It's actually pretty firm, meaning that I don't think the engine mounts were ever changed per se. They are BMW, and I would think that these are original to the car. And you can see the crack here, right? You can see that crack there, and it's probably a good time to change it. I mean, obviously the subframe is down. You want to do as much as possible while the subframe is down. Like I said, this is a very long process to do this at home. I highly recommend doing everything that you can, especially the downpipe. While we're in there, right, we're gonna do the downpipe, we're gonna do the engine mounts, and then obviously we're gonna do the oil pan gasket. Oil pan gasket is very visible. It's a very straightforward job now. We're gonna take a couple of minutes to clean the bottom of it, and then we're gonna start with kind of getting it prepped for the new gasket. We're gonna clean the mating surfaces and then all the gunk around it so that we're not shoving dirt back into the engine.